Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In this video, I want to give you the top 2 reasons, or really the 2 best reasons for doing supersets during your workouts, not only your workouts, but particularly with your clients. Now, there are more than 2 good reasons to do supersets. I want to give you the top 2, at least from my perspective, and why I do them and have always done them with my clients. But first, before anything else, if you have not done so, please subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when the new material is going to come out. Okay, now supersets, one of my favorite sort of ancillary modalities of training in a program, probably one of the best. So supersets, drop sets, things like that. But supersets in particular, I really have always enjoyed doing supersets. Now, I will say this, that when I first started training, and this is many years ago, when I first started training, supersets were very specific, okay? We would say a superset was only if you were training 2 opposing or antagonistic muscles. Now, we're talking in late 1970s, early 1980s, when I first started getting into bodybuilding, weightlifting. So way back when, the only thing a superset was a dumbbell curl with push downs, a bicep exercise, a tricep exercise, a pec exercise like bench presses with pull-ups or rows, right? Chest and back, leg extensions with leg curls, right? Quads and hamstrings. So that was always the concept of a superset. Well, things have changed over the years. We pretty much call anything that has 2 exercises done one right after the other. It doesn't matter what muscle groups you do them. We call all of those supersets. I have acquiesced. Yes, I've given away to the changing of the culture in the weightlifting community, and I'll be the first one to say, sure, bench presses supersetted with push-ups, great, fine. I'm not going to try and fight that beast. So what is a superset today? It's anytime you do 2 exercises, one right after the other, with little to no rest in between. And here's the top 2 reasons why that is so beneficial to you and the average client. By the way, it was always a technique I liked using with athletes, okay? Particularly those athletes, not bodybuilders. Bodybuilders, of course, I always did supersets with, but I used to do them a lot with track and field athletes as well, particularly middle distance and long distance athletes. And it's going to be one of the reasons. But 2 main reasons why I really recommend doing supersets with your clients is, first and foremost, is the amount of time it takes to complete a full workout and get more volume into your training. So just keep in mind, if I don't take that 30-second or 1-minute rest from one exercise to the other, well, what happens? I save that time. So that's number 1, is that just from a purely time-saving perspective, doing one exercise and then immediately doing another exercise right after it simply saves time, right? If it takes me a minute and a half, 2 minutes to complete one set, I'll use bench presses, for instance, and push-ups. We'll talk about a superset with the same muscle group. So I do bench presses and I have a great set of 12, 15 reps or whatever case. And I put the weight down and I stop and I go, whew, man, that felt really good. If I wait 30 seconds, a minute or whatever to recover before I do another set of bench presses, that's a great way to train your pecs. It actually is. Nothing wrong with training like that. However, then that's a bodybuilder, for instance, or even a power athlete, something like that. But what if my client, and this is the kicker, what if my client only has 30 minutes to train with me for resistance training, which is mostly what we deal with? Is that I've got clients that are coming in to train their chest, their shoulders and triceps or upper body or whatever, and it's always a specified time period. Whereas, now think about this, when you go into workout or you have athletes who have committed themselves to their training, they'll take however long it takes to train. In general, like if I go into train, I don't keep myself at 30 minutes, or maybe I can run over. No, not with clients. No. Workout starts at 1. They got to be done by a certain amount of time, which means I got to get my training done, but I need to keep the volume, or the number of repetitions and sets, or reps, sets, total volume of training concept. I need to keep that relatively high, no matter what my training program looks like. I've got 30 minutes, and I'll use that as a frame of reference. I only got 30 minutes. If I take a lot of rest time, then I'm simply not going to get as many sets and reps in, i.e., my volume is not going to be as high, perhaps, as I want it to be. So, number one is I save time. It's one of the most important components of doing supersets. Same thing, by the way, with drop sets, and I'll do another video on that. But supersets for sure saves a lot of time. Now, that also leads to the second, and I just hate to say one is more important than the other. They're really side by side, and they help each other. The second reason is because we are more concerned with muscle strength and endurance training than we are with just pure strength or hypertrophy training. Remember, it's not either or. What we're trying to do with our clients is to get all the different modalities, as many modalities of training, effective training in as we can, maintain enough significant volume so we do see the necessary changes in the muscles occurring. And I want to make sure that I treat their training almost as an endurance type of programming. When I come into certain workouts with a client, I almost want to go the entire workout without taking any rest. Not only does it help their cardiorespiratory capacity just on its own, but muscle endurance itself, which is a very, very critical, very important component in a training program. And muscle endurance training simply means that you're keeping that muscle under tension. We use this term time under tension, time under tension for anywhere between a minute and a half. I'll keep people under tension through supersets up to 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, which means you need to significantly decrease the total amount of resistance they're using. And of course, they're going to have to build up to that level. But keep that in mind, okay? Muscle endurance training is a very, very effective way to treat your clients over the long haul of their training program, okay? Yes, my clients are going to get stronger, absolutely, because I don't just do muscle endurance training. We do muscle strength, we do muscle endurance, we do hypertrophic type of training, right? So if I can get my client to increase their endurance of the time under tension that they're spending on that particular muscle, that will have a significant benefit. And that's why I no longer have an issue with doing, quote, supersets on the same muscle group. If I do a set of, we'll use chest, pecs right now. If I do a set of bench presses, right, and I fatigue that muscle, fatigue those pecs, boom, and I put the weight back as quickly as I can with very little rest, I get up and I immediately go into push-ups. I'm training the same muscle group essentially. Now I'm going from an open kinetic chain movement to a closed, which also has its benefit. Nothing wrong with that. And I will then try to do as many push-ups as I can. Yeah, I'll even go on my knees just so I can continue doing the movement. What that's going to do is it's going to force your pectoralis major, yeah, and your delts and your triceps, obviously, to adapt to this higher level of both intensity and, of course, increased volume. And the manifestation of that, or the changes that will be noticed, will be an increased level of type 1 muscle, type 1, and generally type 2A fiber activation, and the increase in total endurance capacity of the muscle. Remember, we're not saying not to do strength training. Of course, we're doing strength training as well. But the key here is to understand why supersetting is such a valuable method or modality of training. Absolutely throw those into your workout. Now I will stop you there and just let you know, as good as they are, you can, too much of a good thing, right? You can do too much supersetting. And that is a problem because generally it's not the overall intensity of training that overtrains people. It tends to be the total volume of training that you do. So also be, a little bit concerned if you're doing too much of them. You don't do supersets on every exercise and every workout. You use them generally as sort of an addition to the training that you're doing, whatever your programming is. Now, I will say that I will normally throw, for the average client, I will throw at least one supersetting type of scenario in every one of their workouts. And as they get more fit and more able to deal with that increased level of muscle endurance capacity, I will start to add, right, more supersets into their particular workout. As always, keep in mind, you got to monitor whether they're in overtraining or moving into an overtraining status. They may just be overreaching, for instance, and then you got to back up. And I will say, if you find that you've been doing lots of supersets with clients and you start to see them going into an overtraining status, you may want to just rethink how much of those you're doing. So you see the balance. Do them for sure, but also be careful with how much you do. They are a great way for you to train personally and, of course, to train with your clients. Look, if you understood this, if this was helpful, write the word understand in the comment section below. If you want to become a certified and, more importantly, qualified personal trainer, go ahead and click on the link below in the comment. Or excuse me, in the description box below in the comment section. Just leave some comments. If you want us to do a video on a particular topic that's been bugging you, that's on your mind, sure, go ahead and let us know. We'd be more than happy to throw that on the very long list of content that we have right now ready to be created. Also, keep in mind, Wednesday night, we do a live study using Quizlet. Now, if you've never used Quizlet, you got to use Quizlet. But if you've never used Quizlet live, that's something additional that we're able to do as instructors and teachers with our Quizlet account. We can actually create Quizlet live. It's a game. It's fun. It's fast. We do it at 6 p.m. every Wednesday night, 6 to 6:30 every Wednesday night. That's Eastern Standard Time, by the way. So that's 5 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Mountain, 3 o'clock Pacific. Yeah, come on board with us. Again, it's a lot of fun, very helpful. If you have any questions, that's what the comment box is for. Let us know. Have a great week. We'll see you. Bye.